Some of us dread doing paperwork. It's not that we can't, it's that it's just not our thing. But paperwork is important to a food processing business. Hi, I'm Sylvia Chong, and welcome to Foundtree TV, where food entrepreneurs can get tips and advice on how to master their small-scale food processing operations. In today's episode, we're going to learn why paperwork is so important, and I'm also going to give you some tips on how to build an effective documentation and record-keeping system. Paperwork refers to the documents and records that we use within our operations. In an effective system, you'll say what you do what you say, and prove it. We create policies and procedures that describe what we do. Procedures also explain how. When we follow a procedure, we record what we've done in a record, and these records serve as proof of what we've done. For example, you may have a policy that states all cooler units are maintained at a temperature of between 0 and 4 degrees Celsius, a procedure that describes who's responsible, the frequency of monitoring, how to monitor the temperature, and what to do if the temperature is less than 0 degrees or greater than 4 degrees. This last part is called a deviation and corrective action procedure. Monitoring is recorded in a log, and this record will include things like the date, time, temperature of the cooler, and who did the monitoring. There are 4 reasons why you need to keep documents and records for your food processing business. Canadians take food matters, like food safety, to heart, and the government has strict legislation now that allows criminal charges to be made against offenders. In order to claim due diligence, you need proof of it. Have you ever heard the saying, "the proof is in the pudding"? This proverb dates back to at least the 14th century, and the original phrase was, "the proof of the pudding is in the eating." It implies that we have to eat the pudding to know what's in it, and also that there's a lot of evidence, but take my word for it. Once it's eaten, your proof is gone, so we can't rely on pudding to prove that we've met regulatory and food safety requirements. You're required by law to proactively manage food safety by preventing hazards. It simply isn't enough to just wing it and hope that the end product is safe. We need a more permanent and reliable way to prove our diligence, which is why we use documents and records. Together, your policies, procedures, and records show that you're conforming to regulatory requirements by verifying that adequate controls are in place and are being maintained. This demonstrates diligence. If you recall from episode 1 how productivity relates to profits, then you also know that having a way to measure your productivity is going to be super helpful. By recording key indicators, you can assess your productivity and look for efficiencies. Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are used to describe what to do and how to do it. Standardization in a manufacturing process gives you better control of your production costs and consistency in the quality of your products. Somewhere down the road, you may want your children to take over the business, or maybe you'll sell it. A business with instructions or procedures is going to be a lot easier to hand over and look much more desirable to potential buyers. Creating documents and keeping records can seem like a daunting task, so here are 10 tips that will help you keep things simple yet effective. It's important to keep cold things cold, like perishable ingredients and finished product. If you have cold storage, monitor the temperature and keep a log. Critical control points, or CCPs, are a point, step, or procedure where control can be applied to prevent, eliminate, or reduce a food safety hazard to an acceptable level. Make sure you identify, monitor, and record your CCPs. Consumers are becoming increasingly interested in the origin of their food. In addition to identifying where a food came from, having effective traceability when a food safety problem has been identified will enable you to take corrective action, isolate and prevent contaminated products from reaching consumers, minimize potential public health risks, and ultimately, the impact on your business. Deviation and corrective action procedures help you deal with situations where something does not conform to the regulatory requirements or food safety standards. It happens, so plan ahead. Include these in your procedures and be sure to record all deviations and corrective action taken. Verification examines the accuracy and correctness of processes or process controls and assesses if the system is being implemented as designed. For example, records are verified by reviewing them. Someone other than the person who conducted the monitoring should perform the verification step. Without production key indicators, such as but not limited to inputs, yield, and labor, it's hard to confirm whether or not you've made a profit. Include these in your production or batch records. By recording customer complaints, you'll be able to see trends and correct any of the problems that occur. Complaints can lead to recalls, so it's important that these are documented. Depending on the size of your business, you may end up with many procedures. Use a master schedule to keep track of who's responsible for what procedure and how often they're used. Even though computer software and applications are available to help you manage your documents and records, it's common for small businesses to use a paper record-keeping system. If you're doing this, schedule some time, for example, once a week, to scan your records. You can store these on the cloud and have access to it when you're not on site. Life and business inevitably changes. Review your policies, procedures, and records at least once a year to look for ways to improve it. If you found this video to be helpful, please remember to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Thanks for watching Foundtree TV. I'm Sylvia Chong, demonstrating the importance of paperwork and helping you build an effective documentation and record-keeping system.